Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Thank you so much. It's always such an honor.
And it is for us again a passion and a pleasure.
I have a couple of safety and personal growth related questions that I would like to ask you. The first is, I work on ships. I don't have a home base or a car or anything like that.
Yes.
And that was great. But now that that is no longer happening, when I was traveling home a few weeks ago, I began to feel fear about my new life and about the trajectory of that.
All right. And what is it you are afraid of?
I was afraid of, as I was transitioning, of running out of money and resources while the world was on hold, and I wasn't sure what to do.
Well, first and foremost, have you expanded your definition of support and abundance to something beyond the concept of money? Because that is one of the symbols that exists on your planet, but it's not the only expression of abundance.
Yes, I have listened to your definitions, but I suppose I don't trust that yet within myself enough.
All right. Then that simply means you don't understand how reality works.
Okay.
So a deeper understanding, taking time to have a deeper understanding of what the mechanism is that's already creating your reality experience will give you a little bit more of a certainty of how you can allow yourself to more consciously direct it in the way that allows you to know you are supported. Because remember, it's not possible to not be supported, but you will be supported in what you believe is possible for you to be supported in, including the fear of not being supported. So if you hold on to a belief system that says you might not be supported, you will be supported in that belief. Do you see the irony and the paradox there?
I do.
So the idea is to recognize how things work is that it's not possible to not be supported, but you get to decide what you're supported in. And if you decide that it's more real for you to feel that you're not being supported, that's what you get supported in. So it's up to you to decide whether or not you prefer to be supported that way or some other way, because the issue isn't about the idea that you're not supported. The only issue is, how do you want to experience the support, positively or negatively? You get to make that decision, because the mechanism doesn't have a mind of its own, and it won't contradict you when you decide you prefer to be supported in a particular, more positive way.
So I suppose then moving forward, just continuing to follow my highest excitement will get the momentum going.
Well, don't leave out the rest of the formula, because this is what many of your people do. They always latch on to, oh yes, I'm following my passion, and they conveniently forget the rest of the formula. Do you know the whole formula, all 4 parts?
I believe so. Well,
can you repeat it?
The next part is following your highest excitement with no expectations on the outcome.
You actually skipped from 1 to 3.
You might have to remind me of 2 and 4.
Part 1 is to allow yourself, yes, to act on your passion as often as you possibly can, to the best you can, until you can act no further on it. That's number 2. Number 3 is no assumption, no insistence on what the outcome should be. Number 4 is remain in a positive state no matter what the outcome is, so that you can receive the benefit from it, no matter how it looks. You have to have the entire formula there, and you have to act on it precisely in order to experience that it's actually working to your advantage. You follow?
You do.
Does that help?
It does. And I suppose just with everything that's going on now, that really it really doesn't matter in a sense, correct?
Exactly. It's how you use it that matters, not what it is that's happening, because everything that's happening can serve double duty, positive, negative. So it's how you relate to it, how you use it, how you respond to it that matters. That's what makes the difference in your life experience, not what it is. What it is a neutral prop. Something is happening. How do you respond to it? That determines everything about your experience of that particular thing or circumstance or situation.
That's very good. Thank you.
This is how reality works. So that's what we were saying, is you simply have to develop a clearer understanding of how the mechanism actually functions. And when you really have a clear understanding of the A, B, C, D, E, F, G of the mechanism, then all these things answer themselves because you know how the machine works. And you have the instruction manual, and all you have to do is follow the instructions. And if you do that, the machine will work as advertised to your advantage. Simple as that. It's no more complicated than that. You just have to understand that this is how reality is created by you.
Thank you. I think just with current times, my brain decided that it would forget, with the pandemic or something happening, that somehow the mechanism would change, but it doesn't.
The mechanism never changes. The only thing that changes is your definition and perspective and experience of it. The structure of existence never changes.
Okay.
Yes?
Yes. Yes.
It is only your experience of it, your perspective of it that changes, and that's what expands creation. Creation doesn't expand in terms of its structure. Its structure is what it is. But you can have an infinite variety of experiences and relationships and definitions of that structure. Yes?
Yes.
Does this help?
It does. I would like to ask one additional question.
Yes.
This has to do with traveling, and now that we've talked a bit on how reality works,
yes,
it'll be interesting. So I like to travel, and I like to travel on my own, and I like areas that are remote and wild and beautiful. And normally that's okay, but I've run into some challenges that I was wanting to ask you about.
Such as?
The past few months, I was noticing that I would get interactions with people that I didn't prefer. I don't want to say negative just because of what we've just talked about, but I would have an extremely profound, it seemed to always follow this pattern, no matter the country, no matter where I went. So I know it's my projection, but I would have a profoundly positive connection with the planet, just awe-inspiring, so incredible. And then it would be almost directly followed by something that I didn't prefer that felt very aggressive, either with human, animal, or something like that. And it kept happening. And I was just wanting to ask you.
So what are you trying to teach yourself in terms of how you respond to those things?
That it should just be neutral, really, and that I can take something positive away from it. But at the same time, I felt fear traveling alone and not quite sure how to respond.
Then maybe you need to do a little bit more traveling within first.
Okay.
And structure yourself in a way that you understand more clearly that you have an indestructible core, and that no matter where you wind up or what you experience there, it is all something that can teach you in a way that adds to your understanding of yourself if you use it that way. So there is something there you're attempting to tell yourself about how it is you respond to these things and what it is these things do to your own sense of self-esteem or self-worth.
Okay.
Yes?
Okay. So go within a bit to think about it. Okay.
This is one of the things that this time is for. When you have sequestered and isolated yourselves, it's like going into a monastic experience where you get to do a little bit more inner exploration so you can come out the other side more knowledgeable about who you truly prefer to be and how you truly prefer to relate to the things that go on in the world, even if you can neutrally observe that you don't necessarily prefer all of them. It's about learning where you actually live as opposed to what it is you are observing. Because sometimes they are there and drawn into your life to give you an opportunity to see if you've actually changed or if you're just going to react to them in the same old fear-based way. Because remember, the measure of change has nothing to do with whether the outer world changes. The measure of change is whether or not you respond differently, even if things still look the same.
But isn't it kind of an interesting thought that if you're responding differently, you're kind of in a different vibrational state? So maybe those same things that you prefer wouldn't even happen to begin with.
It might not, but the point is you wouldn't care.
Okay.
Because it doesn't matter what happens if you're in charge of your particular vibrational state. Who cares what's happening around you? You haven't gotten to the point yet where you actually don't care.
No, I have not gotten to that point. It will be nice to get to that point.
Well, you can.
Okay.
When you understand again how this works, you will see that you're simply giving yourself an opportunity to recognize what true change is all about, and it has nothing at all to do with the reflection.
Okay.
The reflection can sometimes be a guide to what's going on, and the reflection can and often will change to match the vibration. But if you need it to change, you're missing the point.
Oh, that's good. That makes sense.
That's like saying, I'm looking in a mirror and I'm seeing a frown, but I need the reflection to change before I do. It never will. You have to decide to smile. And yes, then the reflection may have no choice but to smile back. But at that point, you don't really care to look at the reflection anymore because you're smiling anyway, no matter what the reflection looks like. Because it's not about the reflection. It's about you having made a decision and made a choice to be who you prefer to be, regardless of what you saw in the mirror to begin with.
That makes sense.
I know, that's why I said it. Does this help you?
It does. Thank you so much, Bashar.
Then we thank you. Good day.
Thank you.
Just do your best and don't judge yourself.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I came all the way from Tokyo again.
You don't have to keep saying that every time.
Okay, sure. I hope you say. Okay, my first question is about Quetzalcoatl.
Quetzalcoatl. Yes.
Yeah, Feather the Serpent. This is something I asked you before about the incident that took place in Mexico City in 1991.
Yes. And we talked about the idea of the return of the vibration of Quetzalcoatl.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Could you expand on that?
You're becoming more aware of the ancient extraterrestrial connection, the vibration, the reality, the energy that was represented by the extraterrestrial that was known or became known as the image of the dragon, Kukulkan. It's not literally a dragon as you understand it, but the vibrational energy of that particular being and that particular reality that it's connected to was represented by the idea of Quetzalcoatl, Kukulkan. So that energy is awakening again on your planet.
Okay. That's why you are mentioning about the Kukumat's frequently.
The Kukumat's frequency, which is the same idea of the crystal skull, yes.
Okay, so that's kind of awakening. That's returning.
Yes. You will discover more things that are connected and representative of that vibration, of the return, quote unquote, of the energy and the vibrational frequency of Kukulkan, Quetzalcoatl, Kukumats, whatever you want to call it, it's all the same idea with different interpretations.
Okay. And the craft that was witnessed in 1991 in Mexico City was also witnessed in other places, including Japan.
Yes.
And you said that there was an interesting connection there.
The interesting connection, again, is what you have interpreted in your reality as the vibration of the dragon, which is representative of a group of beings in another dimension that you interpret when they come into your dimension in the form of the idea you call a dragon. That's not how they necessarily are or look in their own reality, but it's how your minds interpret them in your reality, because they're very powerful beings of a very specific type that plays upon certain archetypal symbols when they press themselves into your collective consensus reality that gets interpreted in the form of a dragon.
Okay.
It represents ancient wisdom and power.
Okay. So that archetypal representation.
Yes.
I want to ask you about Amaterasu, the Japanese deity.
Yes.
Does she also has something to do with that?
It's peripherally connected. It's not identical, but there is a connection, yes.
Could you expand on that?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you said no.
Well, how psychic of you.
Yeah, right.
It's simply not appropriate at this time.
Okay, sure. And I'm thinking of going to Angkor Wat in Thailand or Cambodia next year.
Oh, all right. Have a good time.
Yeah, I will. And one guy says that the arrangement of Angkor Wat temples imitate the Draco constellation.
Yes, many temples and such structures do represent connections to different constellations, yes.
Okay.
Remember, again, the idea, the symbol of the dragon, yes.
Yes. So those who created Angkor Wat had some understanding about the significance of a Draco constellation.
Yes.
Could you expand on that too?
No. They understood the vibration. They understood the vibrational frequency relationship and therefore built the temple to resonate at that frequency.
Okay.
It's like crystallizing a frequency of other dimensional energy into an architectural structure on your planet.
Okay. So those people who created Angkor Wat
they did it to help amplify their vibrational connection to beings that are associated with that constellation. So being in that temple can act as a resonator to upgrade and alter your frequency to be more akin to forming a connection, making it more probable to form a connection to that specific consciousness associated with that constellation. Different temples around the world are different connection points to different extra-dimensional, extraterrestrial, spiritual beings that are associated to different constellations vibrationally, energetically. So you could say that the temples and structures like the pyramids and temples around your planet are kind of like phone booths specifically geared to different constellations. So you can place calls more easily, strengthen the connections more easily by using the appropriate temple that's connected to a specific extra-dimensional consciousness.
Okay, well, that's interesting.
Yes, it is. I'm glad you think so.
Yeah, right. And about Serpent Mound.
The Serpent Mound in your whole Ohio area.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Serpent Mound also plays a role of a phone call to the constellation Draco.
It does.
Okay.
Therefore, among other things, but you'll find that out too. Also look to the constellation you know as Cygnus, the swan.
Okay.
Yes? It's where the Anunnaki came from.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Will that do?
Yeah, I think that will do. Thank you.
All right, thank you.